Welcome back, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. So now let's talk silver. Folks, imagine if I said you had an opportunity to win an entire tube of sealed 2023 Type 2 Eagles along with 10, maybe more other coins that are semi-numismatic, not no generic rounds. We're talking about older pandas, coins that have value within themselves, that are not pegged to spot price, that will grow in value over time as they have numismatic potential as well. Well, folks, that is the case over here. All you gotta do is push one button for that dream to happen. My entry video is live. Go enter for a chance to win these prizes. Links in the description or the pinned comment. I also post daily videos. So, folks, Andy Scheckman brought up something very interesting on my podcast, or our podcast, a couple days ago. We have a weekly podcast called the Silver Stacking Podcast on this channel. There's a whole playlist of every episode we've done. But he mentions how all these different states are legalizing or using silver as legal tender now, which is interesting because I never thought there would be a day where we bring back some form of the gold standard. And I'll show the clip right here of Andy talking about this, but I want to spark this discussion because we really haven't talked about this and what it means for silver moving forwards. Donald Trump has jokingly mentioned bringing back the gold standard, as nobody really thought it was possible, but we have several different states that are putting this in action. So with that said, I'm going to show the clip of Andy bringing this up, and then I'll go over this article, and I would love for you to throw your 2 cents in. Are you in one of these states that it is legal tender? And the most interesting part about this is, right now they're talking about any coin in any country that is that is legal tender, right? We're not talking about generic rounds. We're talking about coins. So any type of silver you have that is valued some type in a country can be spent, just not rounds, of course. But some states might just do eagles or silver from the U.S. mint, like constitutional silver as well. So I'm going to show this clip. Let me know what you think about this. I think this is going to be something very interesting and a bigger topic of discussion as the months and years go by. So with that said, let's check it out.
When you talk about biggest bang for the buck, it's in rounds and bars. But one of the things that I thought I would never see in my career, which I'm kind of shocked that is here, is the number of states that have already passed legislation or in front of their legislature right now to allow legal tender coins to be used for all debts, public and private, including paying your property taxes. So you got Alaska and Idaho and Wyoming and Missouri and Kansas, North Carolina, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Nevada, Utah, all these states that are allowing people to accumulate gold and silver, and if it's legal tender. See, I think Texas and maybe one or two others say only Eagles or only U.S. minted coins. But most of the states say any legal tender coin, past or present, minted from a sovereign government.
So when he said that, it really stuck with me. That was one of the most important things and interesting things that was brought up in the entire podcast, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we talk about probably 20 different topics in that hour, but this stuck with me. Over the last couple of days, I've been thinking about this. So I did some research, as I should, as a precious metals, commentary channel, to dig up some more information on this. And we have 23 U.S. states that are going to move, or most have moved, to recognize gold and silver as legal tender. Now, I'm interested. I haven't read this entire article yet. I kind of want to go through it. So it's more like we are reading this, discovering this information together, instead of me kind of telling you as I show you this article. I think it makes it more interesting and entertaining, because you guys get to see my reaction as I uncover this stuff with you all. So 23 U.S. states moved to recognize gold and silver as legal tender. With the Arkansas Legal Tender Act, 23, I didn't know there was, I thought there was only probably like 7 or 8, but they are claiming that there's 23. And I don't think all of those have this in act yet. I think there's only like 5 or 6, but I had no idea that so many are signing up for this. So with Arkansas's Legal Tender Act, 23 U.S. states have now moved to recognize gold and silver as legal tender. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Arkansas's governor, signed the act on April 11th, specifically mentioning that all forms of gold and silver bullion may be used to pay off debts. The act includes further details that legal tender shall not be characterized as personal property for taxation or regulatory purposes, and the purchase, sale, or exchange of any type or form of specie shall not give rise to any tax liability. That's a very important sentence right there. The law will go into effect in 90 days, making Arkansas the 4th state to enact policies that shall allow residents to use previously approved silver and gold coins as legal tender. Other states include Wyoming, Oklahoma, and Utah. So yeah, it looks like there is 7 so far. Beyond these 4 areas, 23 U.S. states are currently developing bills and regulations to allow citizens to use silver and gold as legal tender. I hope they mention all the states. If not, I'll have to do some deeper digging, but I will show it in this video. I'll just have to pause this and keep going. I figured they would, but who knows. So, beyond these 4 areas, 23 are currently developing bills and regulations to allow citizens. So this is an ongoing thing. Communications Director for the 10th Amendment Center, Michael Murray, believes this movement shows state-level attempts to undermine U.S. Federal Reserve's power, nullifying the Fed on a state-by-state level. I think that's very interesting, and it's like Andy Schectman says, he never thought he would see this in his lifetime. The debate for silver and gold legal tender arises from the concept of a multi-currency environment. Over time, as residents of the state use both Federal Reserve notes and silver and gold coins, the fact that the coins hold their value more than the Federal Reserve notes will lead to a reverse Gresham's law effect where good money, gold and silver coins, will drive out bad money, Federal Reserve notes. Professor William Green explains. I think that's a very interesting concept. I don't know if that will work. There's a lot of what ifs or just what's in general. Like, what would they peg silver at a specific price? It does make sense that they're mentioning gold and silver holding their value, right? It does. It holds its value if you don't look at silver with the price tag attached to it, but more so as the 1 ounce inside of it. For example, a Walking Liberty $half could get you a gallon of gas back in the day. That same exact Walking Liberty $half can get you a gallon of gas today. Silver Slayer gas isn't 50 cents, I know. 50 cents back in the day would buy you a gallon of gas, right? The face value of that coin. But today, you could take that Walking Liberty $half, walk down to your local coin shop, sell it for $20 and get yourself a couple gallons of gas. So that one coin can still get you what it can today as back in the day. That's kind of the point they're going off of here, is silver holds its value. 50 cents cannot get you a gallon of gas today, though. If that would have been 2 quarters back in the day, you see how much more you would have to pay today? The debate over whether Federal Reserve government should allow such movements always comes back to U.S. Constitution, which states that no state shall make anything but gold and silver coins a legal tender in payment of debts. Why are so many states trying to move away from the U.S. dollar? The U.S. dollar has been virtually limitless currency across the globe for nearly a century. By the end of 2022, the dollar made up over half of the world's reserves, 58%, 0.36 to be exact. The next most prominent currency, the euro, rang in just 20.47%. No other government has ever had anything remotely like this sort of capability. In fact, a case could well be made that it is this very power that holds the entire world monetary system organized around the dollar together. And I've said that, right? The dollar is what every country relies on. Now, when you want to incorporate the BRICS nations with this and their digital currency backed by physical commodities, or or the CBDC and all this. I mean, we're definitely living in strange times. There's a lot of, like I said, gray areas, and the most interesting part about this is we've never experienced this before, right? We're in foreign waters. We don't know what's going to happen, and we can't even try to look backwards in time and say, okay, well, we've seen this before. No, we haven't, right? Especially when you incorporate the BRICS nations and other countries opting out of the US dollar, right? So we're living in interesting times. So, political and economic pressures devalue currencies until inflation runs so rampant that nations must seek other options, further devaluing the already plummeting tender. The primary trend pushing the US dollar down is now de-dollarization. As the US dollar loses value with extreme inflation rates, nations are actively moving away, like I just mentioned, from the currency by stockpiling gold and silver, prioritizing local tenders. Nations like Brazil and China, they're talking about the BRICS nations now, nations like Brazil and China have nearly moved away from the US dollar entirely, while oil-centric countries have begun using their assets to trade rather than US dollars. Right, and if you guys don't know, the dollar has the United States at that has their hands in every transaction globally. Well, they used to, and these countries are like, hold on, why are we doing this? We can come up with a system on our own. First, it was the BRICS, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and then other nations, other countries started joining, and now there's a lot. There's a waiting list. There's a lot more than just those five. Gold and silver carry the longest history of trading as currency. For centuries, people around the globe relied on precious metals to store value and trade goods. Gold and silver offer this unique benefit over traditional fiat money because they're intrinsically rare, do not carry counterparty risk, and cannot be printed over and over. Right? Money is something that cannot be created nor destroyed. That's what it should be. Right? It's divisible. It's permanent. It's a store of value. It's a unit of account. It's got everything you want out of money, but it doesn't go away and it can't be increased. That is what makes gold the most beautiful money of all. What more can you ask out of money? Mike Maloney, Precious Metals Investor, states in his series, Hidden Secrets of Money. As inflation continues soaring on the home front and risks of dollar-denominated debt only become more clear, United States are now trying or U.S. states are now trying to protect themselves from the reality of the dwindling U.S. dollar. As the dollar loses more value, which it's lost 98% of its original purchasing power, loses more value and credibility, precious metals show the highest performance levels in months. Gold and silver perform best in poor economic periods because they do not fall subject to inflation, market risk, unemployment figures, or other volatile factors. Actually, gold and silver do much better. There's a negative correlation. A direct negative correlation. When the dollar index is low, gold and silver is high. Vice versa. So you can see why bankers and people that push stocks and bonds and all these different options are going to try to tell you that gold and silver is bad because they want you to stick to the dollar. Well, if you stick to the dollar, it's like switching seats in the Titanic. Even if it's something that's pegged to the dollar, it's still going to go down with it. And if you can't hold it, you don't own it. We're not talking about the SLV or the PSLV. We're talking about physical coins that you could spend, like they're mentioning, this legal tender, intrinsic value. No matter who says that 1 ounce coin is worth what's irrelevant because the coin's value is the 1 ounce inside of it, not the price tag attached to it, not a piece of paper, not a digit on the screen. So I thought this was very interesting. I thought this was a great article. They did not cover all 23 states, so I'm about to pause this video, come back, and share those states. For you, it won't be paused because, the video will keep playing, so I'm about to go do that, and I'll be back. So I did some research, and these are currently the states where it is legal tender, and then the blue is pending, the red are the ones that are not legal, but a lot of those are trying to pass bills. So it's looking like Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Kansas, Missouri is pending, Indiana, West Virginia, Tennessee, and South Carolina all are legal. So that's where we're at right now. Obviously, as time goes on, this will become more green. As they say, 23 are attempting this, and I'll keep you guys up to date as well. If you guys wanted to purchase some of this shiny stuff, I recommend going to Miles Franklin. All you have to do is send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. Let them know Silver Slayer sent you. They are one of the only few authorized dealers that works with the U.S. Mint, and they have great reputation. You're definitely going to you're definitely gonna benefit from this, since I have a direct relationship with Andy Scheckman. So if anything were to happen or anything, I could email him or put you in direct contact with him. It's kind of like buying silver from your friend compared to some random person behind a screen, especially if you consistently buy through them and build a business relationship, especially as these sites are having a harder and harder time finding silver, like as the US Mint banned everyone from buying directly from them. They only have a few authorized dealers that they sell to. Miles Franklin's one of them. So that could even potentially mean that prices of Eagles may go up, and these sites or these companies can't get a hold of Eagles. They'll have to go through third party, and that means they would have to cost more, where Miles Franklin can go directly from the source. So building a relationship with them could be very beneficial, and I'm glad that I'm able to give you guys that opportunity. So send an email to info@milesfranklin.com. I'll post a link in the description of the pinned comment. Also, if you want to enter my giveaway for a chance to win some free silver, then make sure you go enter as well. May the luckiest stacker win. Thanks for tuning in. This was Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.